Hello, Tobin and Nora. It's time for Grandma to read a few more books to you today. I hope you like these books that I've picked out. Some of them, or one of them, is very, very old. I had it when I was a little girl. But let's get to the newer ones first. We've got a Clifford book. I love Clifford. Everybody loves Clifford. In fact, on the back it says here, say hello to America's biggest, reddest, most loved dog, Clifford. I love Clifford. Okay, then here's one by Mercer Mayer, Just Me and My Dad. And I have never figured out what animals these little critters are. I don't know. Maybe you can work on that, because you probably have some Mercer Mayer books. Okay, Clifford and Me and My Dad. Now, when your Aunt Erin was little, this was one of her favorite books. She loved the Naughty Puppy. Sesame Street, The Fix-It Shop. This is one from when I was very little. I think I was probably about 7 when I got this book. And notice it only costs $0.25. This is a really old book. The Lone Ranger and the Talking Pony. I must have read this book 200 times when I was a kid. And then this one, A Chair for My Mother. I love this book. I love the colorful artwork. I love the idea behind it. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with Clifford. Clifford's Manners by Norman Bridwell. And this book belonged to your dad. It says Dan Boyt, September 1988. He was just a little boy then. I'm Emily Elizabeth, and this is Clifford. Everyone loves Clifford because he has good manners. I taught him myself. Clifford says please when he asks for something. See how he's holding a sign because he can't talk? Not really. And it says please. And there are bags and bags of dog food there that he's asking for. It says please. Say please. He says thank you when he gets something. Thank you. And that says say thank you. And he writes a thank you note when someone gives him a present. And that says, Dear Uncle Bob, thank you. He's not finished with it yet, but I think he's going to say thank you for the cute baby kitty you sent me. Send thank you notes. And you kids are really good about doing that. I really appreciate that about you. Clifford loves to go to the movies. He waits his turn online. Wait your turn. If he gets in there, though, I wonder where he would sit. I don't think they have seats that big in the movie houses. Maybe they have one just especially for Clifford if he's a regular customer. If Clifford has a snack, he puts the empty bag into the litter basket. Clifford hates litter bugs. Don't litter. Clifford says, excuse me, when he needs to pass in front of people. See, his sign says, excuse me. And this says, say excuse me. He never talks during the show. Talking disturbs others. And Clifford's making the quiet sign with his paw there. Don't talk. Do not talk during a show. When Clifford has to sneeze, he uses a handkerchief or tissue. It's a good thing he does. Use your handkerchief. Not many people use those anymore. We mostly use Kleenex, don't we? Clifford has many friends. He shares his toys with them. Share. Clifford puts his toys away when he is through. His friends help. They have good manners too. And that says Clifford's Toy Box. And this says put your toys away. And I think your mommy has taught you to do that too, hasn't she? Clifford is a terrific tennis player. He obeys all the rules of the game. Follow the rules. Sometimes players disagree, When Clifford is angry, he does not hit. He just says what he feels. And he thought that ball was in, and Emily Elizabeth thought the ball was out. And here it says, talk, don't hit. Clifford is a good sport. He smiles when he loses, and he does not boast when he wins. Be a good sport. Clifford loves to go visiting. When he visits his sister in the country, he always calls ahead. Well, Clifford doesn't have to use a telephone, does he? His voice is so big it carries clear out to the farm where his sister lives. And this says, call ahead. Clifford always arrives on time. Don't be late. He knocks on the door before he enters. Knock before you walk in. He wipes his feet first. Wipe your feet. Clifford kisses his sister. He shakes hands with her friend. Shake hands. Clifford's sister has dinner ready. Clifford washes his hands before he eats. Wash up before you eat. And I know for sure, Tobin and Nora, you do that, don't you? Clifford chews his food with his mouth closed. He never talks with his mouth full. Don't talk with your mouth full. Clifford helps with the cleanup. Help clean up. Then he says thank you and goodbye to his sister and to his friend. Thank you for dinner and goodbye. And it says say goodbye. Everyone loves Clifford's manners. That's why everyone loves Clifford. Have good manners. There's a bunch of pictures of Clifford. There's such cute pictures of him. I love Clifford. Okay. We will now read Just Me and My Dad by Mercer Mayer. We went camping, just me and my dad. Dad drove the car because I'm too little. There they go. Off in the car. And they have a grasshopper and a spider with them. And a bluebird watching. I picked the campsite, but someone was already living there, so I gave it back. Who was living there? Looks like a groundhog and a snake. We found another campsite nearby. My dad was tired, so I pitched the tent. Uh-oh. I think he had problems pitching the tent. And he still has the grasshopper and the spider with him. We made a campfire. I found the wood, and my dad lit the fire. That's the way to do it. Let Daddy light the fire. Or Mommy. Don't ever try to do it yourself while you're little. Oh, now they have a raccoon watching too. I wanted to take my dad for a ride in our canoe, but I launched it too hard. Uh-oh. See what happened? But no worries, the grasshopper and the spider are fine, and now they also have a bear watching them. Oh, we went fishing instead. My dad took a snapshot of the fish we caught. Then I cooked dinner for me and my dad. What do you think you're going to have for dinner? I think I'll have fish. Uh-oh. Maybe not, because somebody else wants that fish too. I think I'd let him have it. Yep, they let him have it. Things will work out better that way. We had eggs. After dinner, I told my dad a story. Boy, did he get scared. Telling a scary story. I don't like scary stories. I gave my dad a big hug. That made him feel better. Then we went to bed. We slept in our tent all night long, just me and my dad. Oh, and this is the one that was your Aunt Erin's, one of her favorites. The Pokey Little Puppy's Naughty Day. This is a little golden book. We used to get a lot of those. 4 little puppies woke up early. They knew that today was going to be a special day. They were going to visit grandmother. They ate their breakfast and then they went out to play. One pokey little puppy woke up much later, but he woke up feeling frisky. Now, Aunt Erin, when she was little, could not say that word. She couldn't say frisky. She would always say frixy. At breakfast, he upset his cereal bowl. Then he knocked a plant off the windowsill. He didn't do it on purpose, though. You know, he's just being a rowdy little puppy. "What is wrong with you today?" asked Mother. "Nothing," said the pokey little puppy. "I'm just feeling frisky, and I can't help that." "I think you had better sit on the naughty step for a while," said Mother. "Perhaps that will help you feel less frisky." I don't know. Do you think that'll work? Sadly, the pokey little puppy sat on the naughty step and watched his brothers and sisters play. They ran and tumbled and chased butterflies. He wished he could run and tumble with them. Finally, Mother said he could go outside and play. "But don't get dirty," she said. "We are going to visit grandmother soon." "I'll be good," promised the pokey little puppy. The little puppies ran off to play tag. 1, 2, 3, 4. But where was the pokey little puppy? He was watching a shiny blue-black beetle near the fence. He tried to catch the beetle as it burrowed into the soft earth. The pokey little puppy dug as fast as he could, but the beetle was faster. The pokey little puppy dug and sniffed, dug and sniffed. Before he knew it, he had dug a hole right under the fence and into the yard next door. Look, he looks kind of surprised at where he is. Mr. Fitzrandolph's freshly washed clothes were blowing on the line. A pair of long red underdrawers danced in the breeze. The pokey little puppy caught one leg and pulled and pulled. Pop, pop went the clothespins. Away went the pokey little puppy, dragging those long red underdrawers through the mud. "Come back here!" shouted Mr. Fitzrandolph. But the pokey little puppy dragged those underdrawers all the way across the yard until they caught a bush. The thorns tore holes in the cloth. Just then Mother came outside to gather the puppies together for their visit to grandmother. She saw what the pokey little puppy had done. "It was naughty of you to ruin our neighbor's underdrawers," she said, "and now you are all muddy too." "I'm just feeling frisky," said the pokey little puppy, "and I can't help that." Mother said, "We'll walk slowly while you go back and apologize to Mr. Fitzrandolph. Don't be long." The pokey little puppy started back, but on the way he saw a bright blue butterfly fluttering near Mrs. Letowski's flower bed. Up and around and back and forth went the pokey little puppy, leaping, snapping, trying to catch that butterfly. What a good game! "You naughty puppy," Mrs. Letowski shouted. "You've ruined my flowers." She aimed her garden hose right at the pokey little puppy. The cold water made the pokey little puppy shiver all over. Mother came to see what happened. She was angry when she saw the flower bed. "When we come home," she said, "you will have to apologize to Mr. Fitzrandolph and Mrs. Letowski." The pokey little puppy was sorry. "But I'm feeling so frisky," he said. "I just can't help it." Mother and the puppies went on their way. Soon they came to grandmother's house. The pokey little puppy ran joyfully up the walk and into the house. "Hello, grandmother," he shouted. Grandmother gave him a hug. Then she saw the muddy paw prints he had made on her nice clean floor. "I'm sorry," said the pokey little puppy. "I can't seem to do anything right today. I guess I'm just feeling too frisky." "Well," said grandmother, "perhaps if you wash your paws and help me mop the floor, you will feel less frisky." "Yes, grandmother," said the pokey little puppy in a small voice. After lunch, Grandmother said she would read the puppies a story. Now, where did I leave my eyeglasses, she wondered. While Grandmother looked for her eyeglasses, the poky little puppy looked longingly at a plate of cookies on a table across the room. He meant only to sniff a little at the cookies, but crash! Over went the table with the cookies, the flowers, and Grandmother's eyeglasses. All the puppies had to help clean up the mess. When the cleaning up was done, it was time to go home. There was no time to hear a story. Goodbye, Grandmother, the puppies called. On the way home, the poky little puppy trailed behind everyone else. I guess he isn't feeling so frisky anymore, said one of his sisters. There he is. He's got his little ears down. He doesn't look happy, does he? Thank goodness, said the other puppies. Thank goodness, said Mother. That night after dinner, each puppy had a piece of Grandmother's special chocolate cake. The poky little puppy didn't upset his dish or spill a single crumb on the floor. The next morning, the poky little puppy woke up early. He took the newspaper to Mr. Fitzrandolph. He helped Mrs. Letowski dig a new flower bed, and he promised himself that he would try not to ever be naughty again. Okay, the Fix-It Shop. This is from Sesame Street, and I'm sure you know some of these characters. When your daddy and your Aunt Erin were little, I watched Sesame Street with them. We saw it almost every morning. It was a really good show for children. I hope it still is. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Elmo, said Bert, will you help me watch the Fix-It Shop for Luis and Maria? Elmo had been looking for a lost puppy, but he thought it would be fun to be the manager for a day. Let's open for business, said Bert. Here's someone now, Elmo exclaimed. Hello, Harry. What's wrong? Harry Monster doesn't look very happy. He's crying and he's got something in his arms. Let's see what the problem is. I see the lost little puppy. It's right there. I wonder if it's on the other page too, and I didn't see it there. Oh, I don't see it. Okay, but he's right there now. I need Maria and Luis to take care of my toy monster right away, said Harry. We'll ask them when they come back tomorrow, said Bert. Tomorrow, cried Harry. I wanted my monster tonight. I cannot sleep without him. Please, can't you help? Elmo watched Harry trudge sadly away. We have to fix his doll, Bert, Elmo said. So Bert and Elmo got busy. Bert pulled all the leaves out of the doll's fur, but Harry's doll was not fixed. There's the puppy again. Elmo took all the burrs out of the doll's fur, but Harry's doll was not fixed. After lunch, more friends were waiting outside the shop. Ernie came in with his broken wagon. Hey, Bert, I need to buy a new wheel, he said. Snuffy came in carrying a chair with broken legs. Uncle Phineas sat on it, he explained. I will need a tool for that, said Bert. And there's the puppy again. When the last monster in line was gone, Bert and Elmo went back to Harry's doll. They stitched some rips and gave him a bubble bath. They combed out the doll's tangles. Then they put him in the window where anyone walking by the building could see him. I think they did a pretty good job. And there's the puppy again. And there he is there. He's not really lost, is he? They're just not seeing him. You fixed him, shouted Harry Monster when he saw his doll. You fixed my darling Teddy Monster. Oh, thank you. Elmo and Bert beamed. We fixed him all by ourselves, they said with pride. There goes the puppy. And Harry is happy now, isn't he? After the last customer had left, Bert and Elmo locked the door and headed home. As they walked through the neighborhood, Elmo told Bert about the little lost puppy. Don't worry, Elmo, said Bert. I bet that puppy found a nice place to take a nap. And Bert was right, he had. there he is. Okay. Oh, now I'll read you one that was my favorite when I was very little. I think I was about 7 or so when I got this book. Very old. Tim was the son of an Indian chief. He had a trick pony named Wahum, the wise one. "Make your pony speak, Tim," his friend said. "Can you talk, Wahum?" Tim asked. Everybody watched to see what the pony would do. Nobody noticed Tim raise his right hand in a signal. Nobody, that is, except Wahum, the pony. The pony nodded his head up and down. "Yes," cried Tim's friend. "The pony said yes." They crowded around, patting Tim's talking pony. One day a stranger came from the city. He wore stiff boots and a 10-gallon hat. "I hear you've got a trick pony," he said. "I can use him in my carnival show." "My son's pony is not for sale," Tim's father said. The stranger talked for a long time in his loud voice. He tried to get Tim's father to sell the pony. At last he saw it was no use, and he went away. All summer, Tim kept close to the reservation. He did not want to see that man from the carnival again. But in the fall, when the pinyon nuts were ripe, the whole tribe went to the mountains to gather nuts. Most of the people walked, but some rode horseback, and Tim rode Wahum, his trick pony. By the time sunset came, the people had filled their sacks with nuts. Just as they were about to leave, the stranger from the carnival came crashing through the bushes on a horse. "You stole your trick pony from my show," he shouted, reaching for Wahum's reins. And before anyone could stop him, he galloped off, dragging the pony behind him. "We will try to get your pony back," Tim's father said. "We will send word to the sheriff." "Yes, father," said Tim sadly. He started for home with the rest, but his heart was heavy. That carnival man was bad medicine. He would not know how to make Wahum do tricks. He might even beat the pony. Tim walked more and more slowly. Entering the canyon, he dropped behind the others, but no one noticed. Suddenly he heard a call, and down the steep cliff dashed a rider on a painted horse. "Tonto!" Tim cried, running toward his father's friend. "I hear you are in trouble, and your talking pony. You and your talking pony," Tonto said. "I bring help." He pointed to the cliff overhead. There against the darkening sky was a man on a white horse. The man wore a black mask. It was the Lone Ranger. Tonto swept Tim up on his horse. They raced up the side of the cliff until they reached the Lone Ranger. "You know what to do, Tonto," the Lone Ranger said. "Keep the boy with you until I give you a signal. We'll get his pony back, or I'm not the Lone Ranger." And with a hi-ho silver, he galloped ahead. Tonto and Tim looked down at the lights of the city. At the edge of town, the red and green lights of the carnival shone brightly. "This is where we go," Tonto said. Riding to the city, Tonto and Tim reached the carnival. They went past the merry-go-round, the Ferris wheel, the shooting gallery, and then they saw the carnival man. He was standing in the middle of a crowd with Wahum, the trick pony. Right there he is. He does not look happy. Tonto reined in his horse. He said, "Be quiet, but watch." And Tim saw the Lone Ranger on foot walk slowly through the crowd to the carnival man. "I've been told you have a talking horse in your show," the Lone Ranger said softly. "That's something I'd like to see." "Yes, sir," said the man, waving his whip in his hand. "This pony can answer any question I ask him. Can't you, fellow?" Wahum did not move a muscle. "Answer, you stubborn beast," the man yelled, and the whip cut the air. But the whip never came down on Wahum's back. The Lone Ranger was too quick. He took hold of the man's wrist, and the blow fell short. "All right, mister," the Lone Ranger said. "That'll be enough." "It is time for you to speak," Tonto whispered to Tim. The boy slid from the saddle and pushed his way to the Lone Ranger's side. "This pony belongs to me," he said. "Why, you little thief," yelled the carnival man, again raising his whip. Quickly the Lone Ranger drew his gun. How about letting the pony decide who its owner is, he said. You say it's a talking horse and can answer questions. Several people in the crowd said, that's fair. Better do what the Lone Ranger says, mister. Are you my horse? Tim asked. Everyone watched the pony. Nobody noticed Tim's hand move slightly. Nobody, that is, except Wahum. He nodded his head up and down. Do you belong in the carnival? Wahum shook his head to say no. Do you want to go home, Wahum? Tim asked, and the pony nuzzled his shoulder. I guess that settles it, said the Lone Ranger. Mount your pony, boy. This man won't give you any more trouble. If he does, he'll answer to me. The Lone Ranger walked behind a tent where his horse was pawing the ground. He leaped into the saddle and rode back to Tim and Tonto. It's getting late, he said. Guess we'd better get you back to the reservation, Tim. Should we go home, Wahum? Tim asked, and the pony nodded his head. Yes. Tim and Tonto and the Lone Ranger started off, and a cheer rose from the crowd, and over the cheer came the cry of Hi-Ho Silver as the Lone Ranger galloped swiftly ahead. This book has been wet. You can tell from the discolored pages. But it is very old. Okay, one more book. Hope this isn't too long a reading session for you. A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job, too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. And there's the jar. Big jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings, and they go into the jar. And there they are. The little girl and the grandmother are counting the money. Mama had a hard day, it looks like. She's asleep and the kitty is asleep on her lap. I noticed she took off her shoes. Her feet probably hurt from being on her feet all day. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here. She's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. but everything else in our whole house was spoiled. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought lots of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. We are young and we can start over." Oh, looks like the jar is getting filled up. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. Here they are, checking out chairs. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. And there's their special chair. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. We sat in the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. There's the picture Aunt Ida took. And there's the kitty asleep on Mama's feet. Kitties are great. Okay, Tobin and Nora, that's all the reading for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll do another one in a few weeks. I'm trying to remember some of the books I've not read to you. I need to go back and look and see what I haven't read. Oh, there's so many books. Okay, we love you. Bye-bye, and we'll see you later.